Hello everyone, it's Bangstan. This is somewhat of a connected video to my previous video about BTS's enlistment. I don't want to dwell too long on the intro, so let's get into the video. I never really stated this in my last video, but BTS did deserve better. They've done quite enough to deserve exemption, but in my opinion, they realistically were most likely not gonna get one. They either would have gone on the Korean government's terms or theirs, and fortunately they are going on their own terms. With the way the laws surrounding exemption are, it would have been very hard to exempt them, despite all that they have done. Let me list off things that, added together, should have gotten them exempted. Speaking at the United Nations 3 times, one of which was as diplomatic ambassadors. The Love Yourself campaign with UNICEF. Speaking with President Biden about Asian and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. Being the youngest recipients of the Cultural Merit Award. Receiving several Grammy nominations. Promoting various parts of Korean culture and heritage. Accounting for around 1% of income for the Korean economy, which is a lot for a boy band. Being the reason why many tourists visit Korea. The list goes on. Even if they still had to serve, they should have at the very least gotten some type of waiver or leniency. But even that may have been hard to get, considering the current rules about waivers and exemption. Currently, the only people that get waivers and exemptions are certain musicians, athletes, people with religious concerns, and people with certain physical limitations or health concerns. But just focusing on the musicians, as that is the most relevant to the topic, what are the exact requirements? Well, artists, particularly classical musicians, are allowed alternative forms of service if they have won an award that is officially recognized by the Defense Ministry. While I can totally understand recognizing classical musicians' achievements, I also think that this is outdated. There shouldn't be a bias towards one genre of music, period. Not to mention that it seems that winning certain awards seems to be a big qualifier. While I won't deny that winning awards is a big deal, I also think people can represent and honor their country in other ways as well. Look at all of BTS's achievements for starters. While this has been called out for years now, I doubt these rules will be changed anytime soon. But there is one thing I feel as though a lot of ARMY tends to look over, and that is the Korean public's reception of BTS. If BTS were just handed an exemption without much thought, they would have been hated by citizens, especially a couple of years ago. Even within the past year, many netizens weren't really fond of the idea of BTS getting exempted. But then the way the Korean government fumbled around with the topic for the past year and then the way they used BTS for the 2030 Expo bid really made the Korean government look like fools in the matter. They didn't even make an attempt to handle it well until ARMY called them out, such as pointing out all of the problems with the venue. Even then, it was ARMY putting in a ton of the work to ensure things would go safely and smoothly. After the enlistment news dropped, most people realized how messy the situation was and were in support of BTS getting exempted. But it was already too late. But could there have been a way where the Korean government handled it well, Korean citizens supported and liked BTS, and BTS got exempted? I think there could have. The Korean government should have considered altering enlistment and exemption laws. This can not only affect people like BTS, but the general public as well. For example, if someone has had some achievement in medicine, for example, they can enlist but still continue to work on what they were studying. Or if they have a degree in engineering, they can enlist in the military after they graduate in exchange for work experience. And when they leave the military, the fact that they got work experience in the military could help them find a job. So in short, the military could help those serving work on their academics and career paths, so those enlisting would feel more satisfied with their service and potentially more optimistic about their future. This way people do not feel like they are losing years of their lives, but instead are getting a fulfilling experience that is contributing to their lives. It would be a win-win situation for both the government and those serving. And for BTS, it either could have been worked out in such a way where they would get a full or partial exemption. If they got a partial exemption, they could have gotten less time in the military, put their diplomatic passports to good use and been part-time diplomats, or even could have worked to further promote South Korea in some way. Since, due to winning officially recognized awards, some athletes and musicians get to use their expertise as an alternative form of service, BTS could have done something similar. For example, the musicians have to teach and perform as a part of their service. BTS do not only have the skills and background to be amazing teachers, but could have easily continued performing and getting to work in the field that they love. They could have done similar concerts to the 2030 Expo, but even then they were just being used like puppets. It really became clear in 2022 that BTS was just a name that certain people were willing to exploit, so I'm not really sure how well this one form of alternative service could have worked, since BTS would have little to no choice in the matter. While it would have also been great if they could have put those diplomatic passports into further use, I'm also a bit skeptical on this as well, since BTS could have also been used as political puppets, only getting used for media attention. But maybe none of that could have happened and they could have actually gotten to do something meaningful and impactful for their alternative service, but based on everything that's happened, I doubt it. The best thing we could have hoped for was a full exemption, because at least then there would be no risk of BTS's name and fame getting used for attention. But BTS could have still been the humble kings and would have gone despite being offered a way out. Despite being more than deserving of an exemption or waiver. At the end of the day, it was always up to them if they wanted to go. Now they've made it clear what their decision is, and while it hurts, at least the outcome was in their hands. At least they got to go on their terms. Thank you for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, please consider checking out some of my other content. I hope everyone stays happy, healthy, and safe. Goodbye.